welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3 and Category 4. Now we're in with our 2 leaders. They've got 6 seconds on the riders behind, and it looks sort of like Al Hamadi just in with Nusum, working to close the group back up onto the wheels. Dromard has gone across that slight level behind him. You can see it leveling off. He's got the gap, and his gap at the moment is 45. Let's say that again. 45 seconds.
There's too many riders on the same team in here. They've got a plan and they're going to execute it. You know, 3 of these riders are from the same squad. There is definitely a plan here. It's not like you've got 4 riders from 4 different squads. We see the leaders of Category 3 catch the leaders of Category 4, and this is now a large group of around 15 riders. X100 and Nuts are not yet through the group. At what point are they going to utilise the draft of that group to close? Because it's Popovic, their teammate, who's gone down the road.
He's got the kick, he timed it right. Tactical master plan has paid off. It's Pablo Popovic. He solos into the gantry. What a ride. Pablo Popovic, your number 1. So hello and welcome to Qualifier Race number 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We've just seen an absolute cracker. I say that every week, but we have. We've seen another great race in the women's race. My name's Matt Payne, and I am in the studio with Emma Martin, who is going to be running through all of the action with me. And we are going to be looking at all of our stats, all of our riders, and trying to give you an insight in the racing. Emma, this is going to be another great race. And we saw in the rewinds previously some fantastic racing by the UAE Clan team with Rogerio Costa in action, but it's a very different course today in Alula.
It is indeed. We're in Australia last week, Colombia for Qualifier 1, and this is the course that faces our men today. So 45 kilometres, 506 metres of climbing, 4 climbs in total, but it is the final climb of the day that is the major one. So that is our Category 3 climb. It's 6.2 kilometres in length with an average gradient of 5.2%, but it is a very stepped climb, and you can see from that gradient profile there are some exceptionally steep sections on the way up to that checkered flag. Now, along the way, we have our 7 segments. You can see those on the screen below. Those are individual timed segments to give us some notion of the racing. And that final segment, it finishes 1.1 kilometre before that checkered flag.
Yeah, really interesting profile. And I think with those 3 steep climbs on the way into that final climb, this is going to be tough stuff. But the overall gradient, the overall climbing isn't huge, is it?
It's not. But that first climb, Matt, does indeed come at 1.7 kilometres. So it is a very short, fast, flat start before they go into the first climb of the day.
So getting out from the pen will be key. Category 1 lined up in yellow, Category 2 in green, Category 3 in blue, and Category 4, the first of our riders away, they are in the red jerseys, and they are the riders who will leave the pens. 5 minutes between Category 4 and 3. 5 minutes between 2 and 1 and 10 in the middle. But our Category 4, as I said, the first of our riders to hit the course here in Alula. And these riders include the Red Furies team, who will be able to talk to each other on the MyWhoosh communications. And they get their own exclusive channel, as do all of our teams.
Yeah, it's a really good development, and the individual riders able to talk to each other, which I think will add something to the finals next week. So today on the start sheets, 20 riders in the Category 4 wearing those red jerseys: Acevedo, Enrico Quadrelli, Suarez, Pleasure, Elos, Finati, Kaluma, Novella. We have got some really strong riders in this category today, and with 20 of them on the start line, I think this is going to be a really good race. So we are in with Acevedo at the moment on the start line of this Category 4 race. It is the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are on the 21st of May. It is qualifier number 3. This is the final qualifier in May. We progress to the finals next Sunday. So as the seconds tick down, the power starts to ramp up as away go our Category 4 men on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club today. Out of the start pen and on to the course proper. There is a fast and high pace being led out by Quadrelli and Villarda. They are moving really fast off the start line today. The pace up to 40 kph already in less than 200 meters. Now that's some acceleration out of the pen today.
It is, and it's aided by that slightly downhill start. As you come down, you can see it, course profile, top right-hand side, immediately around the riders. At the moment, though, slight incline as it then will level, but the proper gradient increasing. But look at Villarda here. He really wants this. Royal kicking hard here at 5 watts per kilo, and the rest of the riders are responding to this. And that is using a lot of energy on a start when there is a long way and a lot of climbing to go.
Well, I think this is a type of course profile, Matt, where these Category 4 riders might be making the call to see how long they can last as leaders on the road today, because the profile is not exceptionally steep. There's not a huge amount of climbing until they get to 36 kilometers into this 45-kilometer race today. And that may lend itself to our Category 4 riders staying out and clear for as long as possible and taking the leaders on the road.
Well, at the moment, they certainly are leaders on the road, aren't they? I mean, they get this 5-minute head start. It gives them the chance to get down the road. It does mean that we try and cover all the race finishes if the riders will come in together, and we can do it within the time constraints of the racing. But at the moment, they're setting off quick. Good to see Enrico Quadrelli in here once again, a man who really came to our attention in the MyWhoosh Championship. Make sure you give it a watch back. Lots of great action on there on Twitch TV and on the YouTube channel. Please do subscribe. Have a look back. Watch the racing. Give it a look and see if you want to jump in and join us. Don't forget, of course, you can be out and racing. We've got 4 categories. It means there's racing for everybody out there, and you can jump on, download the app on www.mywhoosh.com.
Yeah, indeed. Quadrelli's brother is in the Category 3 races on the start sheets today, and that's Filippo Quadrelli. So brothers riding in different categories on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club today.
I'll tell you something, that would have caused an argument at home with us, with my brother and myself, who both raced. He was technically the better rider, but he could never stay in one piece, where he tended to get injured more often and not be quite as well. Me being just basically strong as an ox and have a lot of brute force and ignorance, just getting through everything, meant that I actually tended to outlast him, but couldn't go quite as quick. Let's see which of the two brothers is quicker today. They are in different categories, but of course, Enrico is going to have his hand up full here, because you've got riders like Michael Suarez who can climb, Maillard in it, Nati. Really good to see these regular names back again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Villarda who's leading this out from Orego as the rotation takes place in the pack. Decker is in here too. So is Alvarez and Quadrelli and Suarez. This rotation coming through this pack, you can see this almost this through and off on the front. The continual rotation of pace and the continual changing at the front as Maillard picks up the pace as they go under the blue banner, indicating this is the start of segment number 1.
So 2 kilometers done, 3.5 minutes into the race. This is Category 4, the first of our riders. They'll be chased by Category 3 from the start line. You can see the riders in the blue jerseys of Category 3 lined up and ready to go. Their countdown clock now heading towards the 1 minute marker, and that means that these riders know that they are in to the moments where they've got to finish those gels. They've got to take a deep breath. They've got to be clipped in and ready. Which of our riders stand out for you today, Emma?
Well, 30 riders on the start sheets in Category 3 today, Matt, and that's a phenomenal size race field. I think some of our riders moving out of the Category 1 because their stats have been verified and they have been allocated to the correct category. So Valencia is in here, Quadrelli, Staples, Gakes, Valedres is in here, Guvin is in here, Martinez, Tortoretto is in here, Mancini. It's looking like a really good field today, but with those additional riders, it could be anybody's race.
Yeah, let's see who is going to carry this on. We've got Ian Lloyd in here, jersey wear, of course, in the MyWhoosh Championships. So we are getting ready for the start of Category 3 on qualifier number 3. It's the 21st of May. Who is going to make this their lucky day? who will be celebrating when we get over the line. It's time to find out here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's Category 3 are away. We are riding in with Escribano at the moment, and at the moment, this group setting off together, but we've seen that fast start is critical, and already we got riders going for a flyer off the front. It looks to me like that's Martinez who's got the gap at the moment. A very big kick coming out at nearly 6 watts per kilo. He's not going to get left behind putting out those kind of numbers, but he is burning up some power.
Well, I'll tell you what, Martinez isn't going to get left behind at that pace, but somebody might. But the juncture being made by the back of the group, so it's one big group at the moment behind Martinez, but it is stretched down the road. And take a look at that. That is indeed our first rider being dropped off the pack and our second about to go, and that's because of the pace Martinez is setting at the front.
And really interesting to see what reaction that has got. It's a very quick start out here because of the course. It's a quick start because of our riders, and you add that together and there's a few people in trouble. And this is a brand new mix of riders. As Emma said, this is a very big field for Category 3, the biggest one that I think I've seen in the Sunday Race Club. As riders been allocated across into category. You remember, all of our riders joined Category 1 initially until we know what they're capable of doing, and then they are added into the mix. Then the divisions go in to try and give us some really close racing between the riders. And you can just see at the moment in Category 3 on the left of your screen, that pack is absolutely motoring, but so are Category 4. And both groups riding really well here.
Absolutely, and we said it was a flat first 1.7 kilometers. Category 4 now it's just over 3.5 kilometers. They are well and truly up on that climb, and the gradient now just getting easier for them. Just 0.8% on that gradient at the moment.
Yeah, it's a long flat top almost to the top of the climb. There's hardly anything in there, and then they start dropping back down again, and it drops and rises slightly. The next big kicker really coming for them at 9.8 kilometers. So that is the start of the second of the climbs out on the course. And that is when these riders will know that the gradients will go up, and that's a little bit more ascent and a little bit higher average gradient as well. In Category 3, you can just see the riders really are motoring on at the moment. Good to see you've got Jack Staples in here. Now, what's he going to do with these hills? He's a rider who took the polka dot jersey in the MyWhoosh Championships. Don't forget, you can watch back all of the coverage of that on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel, as well as lots of great videos, instructional videos from Jeff of what you need to do to change your avatar, to use various options in the game, and of course you can see where MyWhoosh are going to be live as well. So if you are watching in the UAE, then don't forget, make sure you go down, say hi to the guys. They'll be down at various events over the course of the year.
Yeah, and one of the things I think is really interesting here, Matt, I'm just taking a look at the flags in this Category 3 pack, and there are riders from every continent all over the world in this Category 3 race, from the USA to the UK, from New Zealand to Colombia to Europe to Sweden. It is absolutely packed with coverage from everywhere.
Yeah, Brazilian flag in there, and you can see Mancini in there from Brazil, as is Valadares. You got Colombia, so the South American continent well represented in here. You've got Staples we've talked about previously. I can see Quadrelli from Italy in there, so plenty of European riders from mainland Europe as well. So lots of riders from across the globe, and looking really, really good. But look at the action.
Well, and let's also remember, we can't assume that they are riding in their home country.
That is very true.
A number of riders based in the UAE on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So I imagine they are not all based in their home country. If you are not based in your home country, let us know. Tag us in on social media. You can get me at Biking Emma. You can get Matt at Matt Fixerpain, or you can get us at Full Speed Events. Tag us into your social media feed. Let us know where you are riding, what you are riding, and how you are riding. And it will be really interesting to take a look. So at the moment, taking a look at Finati. He is the leader on the road at the moment now. Dario Finati has pushed on from the pack. He's pushed on in that Category 4 race, and he's 8 seconds clear of the chasing group.
Chasing group at the moment putting out some big numbers, though. I don't think they want to let Fanati go. They've just gone over the top of the next slight flat section, dropping down. Meanwhile, Tom Gates on the attack now as they push on to this climb. We know Tom Gates, strong rider. You can watch him on his YouTube feed as well. And Gates at the moment leading this climb, but the pack behind. It's a bit like Jaws, isn't it? It's coming for him. It's just a matter of time when they're going to get their teeth into him, I think, on the climb.
Well, Gates took the win last week in Australia, so fresh off of that win, his legs are strong and he is pushing on.
He's a rider who was very strong, if I remember correctly, this time last year. So clearly it fits in well with his season as he comes in and through. And it's about this time last year he was very strong. And he was also strong in about August, September time as well.
Yeah, so riders peaking at different times of the year, all playing out on the Sunday Race Club. So it's Santiago who picks up the mantle at the moment, with Kochichev in there as well. Tortoretto is there too, so is Lloyd and Quadrelli. Milano is in here too. So a huge group of Category 3 riders all rolling around in the pack here as they continue to move up these this lower gradient on this first climb.
It does look to me, though, Emma, that we have lost a number out of this group. It doesn't look quite the same as the when we saw it. It could be my eyesight. It might be I need more coffee. It's I think we've actually managed to get to the second show and haven't actually mentioned coffee. We're not doing
I think you'll find there's 21 riders in this group, Matt, so we have indeed lost some riders. 9,
not just me then.
9 to be precise.
It's a good job you're watching those stats on the way through. So our riders on the move. Another attack on the front. This time it's Frederick Schoberg who's attacking. So at the moment, Schoberg is the rider who's got the gap. He's pushing at 4.5 watts per kilo. He's up near the top of the summit, 3.75, and it's just undulating now until they get into 9.8. He's gradually downhill, but it is nothing to write home about. Nobody's going to be sending a postcard saying I had the best downhill in the world. Interesting, we've got Ismael Nogueira in this group, and he's looking very attentive as well. Another rider who has been improving as we've gone through the championships and now into the Sunday Race Club.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is great to see. So 3 riders now here at the front of this group. These riders being joined by Quadrelli. So it's Quadrelli who has come over to form this group of 3, but it's only 2 seconds back to the group, and the group are pushing on hard. Santiago at the moment kicking out 5 watts per kilo, leading that group, and look at that, literally dragging the entire pack over to those 3 leaders.
Yeah, you could see he really didn't want to let those 3 go. I mean, that is a dangerous threesome to let off down the road and to give any kind of ground to. But it says to me that these riders really want to race hard today. This is early. I mean, it's a 45K race, and we're not at 4.5. We're not at 10% yet.
It's attack after attack after attack in this Category 3 race, because it's Martinez who took up the mantle. Quadrelli has caught back and has gone over the top. Santiago is there as well. The pace coming off a little now, but not hugely.
So Category 3 on their way down the straight here. And they were the last riders we set away from our race start back at the pens. It seems a long time ago, doesn't it? It's a big gap between our Category 3 and Category 2. It does leave them a lot of work to do. And with such strength in Category 3, this is made even harder. So you can see on the bottom of your screen, 3 and 4 on the road, 4.8 and 7.4K for Category 3 and 4 respectively. Categories 1 and 2 on the start line, and Category 2 are our next group of riders who will be hitting the race route. They're in the green jerseys, and this contains our team. Well, the team that is ever present, this is Zaid Hamdan, Ahmed El Tanaji, and Hassan Al Ramestri, are UAE Falcons, along with a real good cast of riders.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this category today has a smaller number of riders than normal. So I think we've seen a lot of riders already qualify in this category and on duty elsewhere or riding something different today, because just 20 riders taken to the start line in category 2 today.
And I think a number of those riders that were in Category 2 moving to 3 and moving up to Category 1 as well. So some movement in those. And this is one of the great things, isn't it, that you do see this migration of riders coming in and through. Yeah. I think today's going to be good because the riders that are in there are strong. People like Michael Phillips, Krasnish, Smythe in there, Spratt in there. This is going to be interesting to
Well,
see who can take this out.
never discount our Methri. And we are in with Che Hoyler at the moment on the countdown at the moment. The seconds are down, the watts are up as away go our Category 2 race. And there is a massive kick coming out from some of these riders. They really want a fast start today. Otherwise, we're going to see Category 3 go over the line before them, because that Category 3 race has been fast and furious already. But Category 2 now in pursuit, because Che Hoyweller is kicking off the line at 5 watts per kilo. And this group, they are stretched back out of the start pen already.
And Che Hoyweller with his avatar personalised characteristic moustache as he heads out with the yellow front of the MyWhoosh bike, the yellow helmet, and so it's very easy to identify him. That personalisation really key for the riders to identify themselves as they're looking at the screens, and of course very helpful for us on the way around. Che, if you're listening, which I know Che Hoyweller does, Che, please do tag us in on social media. We want to see if your moustache is as magnificent in real life as it is on your avatar. There you go. Challenge for you, Che. As well as riding and winning the race today. No pressure.
Well, indeed. So Ospina is up there as well. So is Smythe and Caligula. Cadiz and Cardenis is there too. This is a constantly rotating pack at the moment. So the pace is high, currently at 4 watts per kilo at the moment, currently here coming out of Hoyweller. So keeping the pace on the front of this group high to keep the speed up. So 40 kph at the moment on this flat section into that run into the first climb on this course.
And that first climb, as we have seen, is really, really critical. It's so instrumental because it comes early, and it's because it's flagged up on the course profile that the riders get. Now, riders can see the course profile. They know where the segment's going to be. They know where everything is on the way through. They are very much aware that they know what they have got in front of them and when they need to attack.
Absolutely, they do indeed. So this group now rolling around Cardenis, Oviedo, Moreno, Giuliano, all here together, and it's our Category 1 riders who are the only category left in the start pens now.
So one set of riders to go. They are our fastest riders. They are our Category 1. They're going to be chasing Category 2. Remember, our prizes are for each category individually. There are no overall prizes, so that although there's bragging rights and pride about not being caught, it is all about winning in your category. Top 5 riders in each category getting prizes. The biggest prizes are for our Category 1 riders. So the prizes increase from our Category 4 riders in red through Category 3 in blue, beyond Category 2 in green, right the way up to Category 1, who are in our yellow jerseys, who have the biggest prize fund, but they're up against the best of the best in that category. So Category 1 are riders who are left, and the riders who will take to the start next. This is a fiercely fought and absolutely stacked race category with some massive names, some big teams, some big personalities, and some incredibly coordinated teamwork. And we saw that last week, we saw that the week before, and we saw it in the championships with the UAE clan team, the team to beat. The Belgian Waffles, not on the same form, that has seen them take win after win in the Sunday Race Club. At the moment in the ascendancy is the clan team, and at the moment the Waffles team having to answer that, but they've got a strong team here today. But you can't discount any of the riders, I don't think, because this is a huge race field.
It is indeed. 68 riders on the start sheets today, and some really, really strong riders, and some riders really coming into form. Fabulous ride by Noren and Cutler last week outside of the chase group, but they closed it down to the finish line. They are alongside Zanaska, Van den Eckhout, Vujasin, Martins, Popovic, X100, Knudsen, Kaminsky, Biarhead, Graves, Walter, Jones, Fawcett. I could go on, but I'm not going to, and it's going to be really interesting. We've got 1 or 2 of our Category 2 riders actually having progressed into the Category 1 race field today. So I think we are going to see some strong riding on this course today. And I'm looking forward to seeing if this breaks up before that final climb.
Yeah, riders like Cutler and co, who are known for their aggressive racing. Phil Gray's one of those that we are in with at the moment. So here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, it's our final category, ready to get underway. It's Category 1 here on qualifier number 3. They are lined up and ready to go. There are 45 kilometers of racing to complete as they make their way down the course. They've got 506 meters of elevation, and we are good to go. So away go the riders. The final category on the road. Now is the time to find out who will be taking away top spot and who will be left in the dust. So our rider's going clear from the start. Phil Gray's the rider that we are in with. Phil, known for his ever-aggressive racing. He's there in that yellow aero helmet on the front of the group, but very quickly over the top goes Munoz as he goes over in the cap. The rest of this pack circling in and around, and you can already see some serious damage being done to that big pack of riders. Don't forget, riders, if you are watching live and you get dropped, don't forget these are the best of the best. So if you have just joined, it will take a little while to get to your level and get into a category suited to you. If you've not been dropped, you're in that leading pack, well done. Don't listen to me, get on with it.
I think there's a large number of riders in that leading pack getting on with it at the moment. It's being led out by Vujasin at the moment while we sit in with Graves. X100 is in there, so's Sultan, so's Mare, so's Zanaska, so's Cutler, so's Bjorkland, Popovic. Last week's winner is in here too. So this is a class race field. So the riders continuing to motor as they transition out the start pen and onto the course. They are under 1 kilometre into this 45-kilometre race, and this large group of riders seem to have settled quite early.
They certainly look to have pulled clear, opened a gap, and then basically just sort of shut down.
Well, I don't know whether, I would say shut down, but they
are.
Come
on.
They are very comfortable, aren't they? X100's heart rate currently at 107 or 106. This is a steady ride at the moment, isn't it? It's a steady start.
I'm going for shutdown, definitely here. But that's up at the very front of this group. Behind, we've got lots of riders. We've seen Marcus Brito here. And in comparison, you're seeing a heart rate 144 as he comes down this straight solo at the moment. But this is where Marcus really has to work out. He's got 45k to do. He needs to get this pacing right. We're going to want to see a verified ride from him. That's what the guys are going to be looking at. So getting to the finish is key, and that then will set the marker for where he goes in, and that'll be added to the data that's analysed on the way through. So really is key for the riders to make sure they get a verified ride in and make sure they get in and through the finish. Now let's go back to some of our other categories. Let's kick off with category 2. We have got Jose Avedo at the moment. Avedo currently at 4.5, nearly 5 kilometers covered, so he's over 10% distance, but he is only halfway to the base of climb number 2 overall, which starts at 9.8 kilometers. So Avedo with the gap. The moment that gap, it's 5 seconds.
Well, and I'm not seeing a huge push coming from behind at the moment. Know what's coming out of that group and matching it. Smythe, who's on the front, is currently at 3.6, Spratt at 3.4. They are not pushing to pull him back at the moment. They are still holding a steady pace, but there is no real concerted effort coming out of that group to pull Oviedo back.
Yeah, and a chase is what is going to be needed, I think, because I don't want to give any. I'm desperate to give a spoiler away for the women's race, but yes, let's see what happens on the way. And it is a very different course actually today. The women's race with much more climbing than the men's race actually today, and a very different course profile today. These are much more evenly matched, and we talk about the first climb that the riders are going to get to and go over, and we're just part way up here with category 1. But this hill, it's basically 2.66k long. It's 29 meters of ascent.
It is indeed, as Van Elst pushes on. Hassan Sultan is the rider to close him down. Phil Graves is there as well. Fat Phil Graves, a huge kick. 11 watts per kilo came out of Graves to make the juncture there.
Yeah, he wants this to go.
Well, Van Elst and Sultan pushing at 7. So 7.5 watts per kilo from Van Elst. Graves is there as well. The pack are further back now. The pack is 3 seconds back. So this is an attack from these 3 riders, and they are keeping the pace high.
This is where you've got to get a group. You want these 3 people to get together. If they can get it together, they are going to be able to work, take turns, and then work as a group. Behind, I think there has already been a flag flown saying, get after them and do it now. Look at Martin Martins, 10 watts per kilo in pursuit, trying to get across the gap here. So Martin Martins has seen the danger. Tim Cutler is aware of it as well. But it's Martins who's trying to bridge across. This would make a group of 4, and this will give them some strength up at the front. But look at the damage that's being done behind. The riders are fracturing, and I think this could become a group of 5, 6, maybe 10 riders very quickly.
Well, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because Martins is pushing on Cutler at 10 watts per kilo. Cutler is sprinting across at the moment. He's towing Popovic with him as well, and Vujasin. But look at that top right-hand corner of your screen. The stretch on that group and the damage that is being done to the back of that pack is huge.
And if you weren't warmed up properly, you are going to be paying some serious price for the speed and the pace so early on in the race. Now, let's take a look at the times here. So you've got Stefan Van Els, Hassan Sultan, Phil Graves in there. They're riders who are right up at the front of the group and gone through the fastest. But look at Martin's time. He's very quick through there, as is Cutler. And you can see those riders responding. People like Fawcett, Knudsen, Oyer, Bjorklund, they're trying to kick back in. But the leading group went through that segment quickest, really pushing on, opening that gap up. And that's why these segments, which give us the individual times, are so key. Now, back down to the racing. Ross Fawcett, the man who raced for that green jersey in the MyWhoosh Championship, is up here. And this is a fantastic group. So Fawcett, Graves, Cutler, Popovic, Martins in this group. As 5 seconds back to Knudsen, Vujasin and Bjorklund. So at the moment, Knudsen are trying to come across at the moment to the group. This is really, really interesting here, because if we see a massive split and we see 8 or 9 riders in the very front group, that will start to equal the number of riders in the back group. And that then could force a permanent split in the racing. It has gone hard, it's gone from the gun. It's a bit like a junior road race. Everybody's just woken up and gone, let's have it.
It's gone hard and it's gone from the gun, Matt. But there were 32 riders in that pack going into the segment, which has caused the area where this split has taken place. So that was 32 riders in the group. There's no longer 32 riders in the group. It's split all over the road. So the 4 riders at the front, I think, are about to be joined by these 4 riders who are chasing, which is Vujasin, Noren, Bjorklund and Knudsen. Now, that is going to be a really interesting group. Fawcett is up there as well, with Popovic. Then we've got a gap back to Zanaska is the next rider. It looks as though 2 seconds back, and Van Elst. Then we've got an 8-second gap back to Walter Yee's Theme. So it's looking like we've got a group of serious intentional attackers here, all coming together, and then a gap back. So this could be a small group forming already.
It's almost a group of serial attackers, isn't it? The riders that we see go on the attack in 1s and 2s, and they don't make it stick. This time round, they've gone off together, and there's a pack at the front there, and they've gone clear. How many's in that group, Hem?
9 riders in the front group. So 32 riders, a large group of 32 riders, down to 9 riders in the front group. And some serious chasing going on here.
Did you see what Mistakes 100 did there, Emma? He put his hand down, he used the signal, take a turn. Don't think he's going to find many people are able to take a turn with the pace he's doing, because they are in pursuit. This is panic stations behind. They've got to get back. They know they're in trouble. And one of the things for me, right at the front of this group, there's very few UAE clan team riders.
Well, Knudsen is in there, and so is Popovic, and that's 2 riders who we know are exceptionally strong. Popovic took the win last week, Knudsen in 2. Knudsen was second in qualifier race number 1 to Vink, and Knudsen second in the April final to Safrazad. So we know these riders are really strong, Popovic and Knudsen, and they both can climb exceptionally well. So those 2 riders in that front group of 9, but they have got some serious company at the moment, because Martins is on the attack at the front of that group of 9. So it's not just happy enough to be in a lead group of 9. Martins now wanting to make sure that nobody else gets in that group. So Martins attacking off the front. Vujasin, Cutler, Knudsen, Graves, Noren all in here, pushing on with Popovic and Fawcett. But that group now around 3 seconds back, as Martins is the rider absolutely killing this race at the moment.
He's doing a great job, isn't he? it seems a waste, doesn't it? You've got a fantastic group at the front, and then people come across, and the work you've done is almost gone. Martins doesn't want that to happen.
Well, he's not
gone.
having that today.
He's not, but he surely would have wanted to have somebody go with him and go clear. And you can just see the chases on behind. This is all over the place, this race. Sometimes we come into qualifier number 3 and I think, well, our riders just need to qualify. They're not going to be going too hard today. It's going to be a steady day. Oh, my goodness. That's definitely not the case now.
Absolutely not. The matches are being burnt left, right and centre today in this Category 1 race. And if your box of matches is empty, you do not stand a chance.
Yeah, they need a big box of family cook matches, not a barbecue matches, not a small box of Swan Vestas, that's for sure. Sorry, it was Swan Vestas. You have your place. So for those of you who don't know, those relative sizes of boxes, I tell you something, you need a big tank today.
You do indeed.
Because this is hard. I mean, look at the times through there. That is incredibly quick. Segment number 2. How long segment number 2, Emma?
1 kilometre.
And it's been absolutely flown through, 1 minute 18.6. But look at the difference between Martins and the rest of those riders.
Well, that was where indeed he's attacked, and he's attacked hard through that kilometre, and that with an average watts of 6.8 watts per kilo. Van den Eekhout 2.5 seconds back with an average watts per kilo of 4.2, and that just tells you the intention of Martins.
Intention is the word. Now, Tim Cutler, the next of our serial attackers to make a move. He's across with Martins at the moment. Now, Popovic, Naska, Graves, Noren in here. Remember, prizes for the top 5 riders, top 5 individual riders. Today's route does not have a monster mountain at the end. Yes, it's a climb. It's a Category 3 climb. It's only 6K long.
Do you think it's lulled them into a false sense of security?
I think people have looked at the profile, thought, big mountain, nothing's going to happen on the way through. Anyone who looked at the detail went, it's not that big. And you know what? It's not the sort of climb that suits a time trial rider. It's more a climb that will suit a punchy ruler type rider. And I think it's almost replicated in the early part of the racing with these undulations, with these hills. This, for me, is going to be a real aggressive race because they've set out so early. I can't see it fizzling out because they're absolutely eating up the distance. We're at 8 kilometers at the moment with this group who are chasing Martins. He's even further down the road. He's at 8.2k. It's not a huge gap, but it's still a gap. And all these riders are less scrambling at the moment.
Well, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because that final Category 3 climb today at 296 metres of elevation is less than half the climb that the women faced earlier on today. And I think you might be right, Matt. I think most of the men might have looked at this profile and thought, well, yeah, it's not really, it's going to be a group until the final climb at 36.8k. But actually, it's not. It is fast and furious from the gun because there's only 500 metres of climbing throughout the entire race.
Yeah, 506 metres in the race, and the final climb is 296. That is not massive, not in the big scheme of MyWhoosh. Sometimes we are seeing some massive numbers on the end. This, I think, is going to be very interesting, watching this play out as these riders continue to kick, because this is going to be all about separating it out, making people suffer. If somebody came into this thinking, I'm going to have a nice steady race, boy, were they wrong. They have not got that at all, and you can see the catch is coming. Now, one rider who we know this constant attacking is not going to see, that's Mr. X100, and he's looking to close this down. He's not been able to go across to that initial group. He got caught out as the riders went through. It didn't play to his advantage. Now he has tried to time trial his way across the gap. He hasn't done that, but he has got some serious names in around him who need to work.
But it's really interesting, isn't it? Because X100's time trialing across the group is just going to tow these other riders back, and he's got 2 teammates in that breakaway. Pablo Popovic and Michael Knudsen are 2 UAE clan team members. Now, if X100 time trials his way over and is at the front of this group and just tows the rest of the group over, I'm not sure Popovic and Knudsen are going to be very happy.
But can Popovic and Knudsen match Martins on this climb? That, for me, is going to be a question. And think about the team, because we know the UAE clan team are so proud of their team results. They have Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic, and Michael Knudsen right up in the mix at the moment, but only 2 riders in that front group. Belgian Waffles, Van den Eekhout, Justin Martins, Van Elst. they won't want to give away a team prize at this stage, particularly in the run into a finals where they're looking to keep that dominance.
Well, it's going to be really interesting, isn't it, with all to play for, as Vujasin is the rider in here. So Martins and Cutler are down the road on this chase group. Not hugely down the road. You can still see them in that shot, but only just as they go through the end of segment number 3.
So Martins, Belgian Waffles, right at the very front. Lionel Vujasin, Stefan Van Els, also from Belgian Waffles, in the second chase, in the chasing group behind. So that's group number 2. So you've got Martins at the very front. You've got 2 more riders right behind. And then you've got a gap. So this at the moment is playing into the hands of the Belgian Waffles in terms of team prizes. But what I absolutely love about this, there's no prize money for the team prizes. This the qualifiers. It's only in the finals.
Well, I'll
it's
tell you
all
what.
about pride.
Well, I'll tell you what, take a look at these results, because this is not just the front group, this is also the back group. Take a look where Martins is in terms of that segment. So this is segment number 3. It's another 1 kilometre segment between 9 and 10k. Now Martins down there with 11th fastest through, and admittedly it's only 1.6 seconds down on the fastest time, but some of those faster times are coming out of the back group rather than just the front group.
They are, and it says to me, I mean, they're not massive gaps. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, do you know what? They're all very similar. It's not decisive, those time gaps, are they? They are so
No, not
close.
at all. Not at all. And the chase group, you know, further back, I'm scrolling down those results at the moment and I'm looking at around 20th, 19th, 20th. So Bert Kayan is one of the riders in the chasing group, you know, 2 seconds back from the times being set by Cutler. So very little difference in time. X100, 2.6 seconds slower. So the chasing group is slower, but only just.
Yeah, it's just brilliant to see, isn't it? It's always great when you see this racing go hard, and we've seen that in Category 1, we're seeing it in Category 2, we're seeing it in Category 3. Filippo Quadrelli at the moment with a gap. His gap at the moment is over 30 seconds to Tom Gates. Repeat that. Over 30 seconds to Tom Gates, given that Tom Gates is an absolute class rider. We know that he could be in pursuit. So you can see Gates on the right of your screen leading the chasers behind. You've got Quadrelli on the left of your screen. They're separated by what is going to be, I'm going to say 350 meters at the moment, but it's yo-yoing a little bit. But look at the pack with Gates.
If I was Quadrelli, I'd have stamped my name on this course as well, just by looking at the profile. We know Quadrelli can climb, and we know he probably wants this one. So Gates taking the win last week in Australia. I'm sure Quadrelli took a look at this profile and went, right, I'm going for this. This one's mine. I'm going to give you an absolute run, because Filippo Quadrelli is a phenomenal climber. So Quadrelli in 1 in this Category 3 race. It's Tortoretto who is now doing the chasing with Gates and Veladres. They are trying to come across, and those 3 riders trying to bridge across from the large pack of Category 3 riders are all still together, 30 plus seconds back from Filippo Quadrelli.
Yeah, look at this. This pressure that has been put on by Quadrelli. He might be putting the pressure on the pedals, but the effect it's having is behind him. The riders are strung out. They are absolutely strung and braking. And this is all about what Quadrelli has done. And they know how dangerous he is. And if they didn't, if they're listening live, they do now.
Yeah, so this takes us back, Matt, in with what is the leading group in this Category 1 race. And I'm counting 10 riders in here at the moment as we're seeing a push on. And I think that's Johan Noren who is pushing on there on the front.
It is indeed. So Johan Noren at the moment just pushing clear of the riders behind. That's for Jasin, Knudsen, Graves and co. as they come in and through. Really interesting.
You know, Noren is 7 seconds down the road map. This chase here is actually the chase to bring him back. So Johan Noren now 7 seconds clear. Phil Graves, Tim Cutler, Pablo Popovic leading the chase behind. So we are seeing constant attacks coming from this group of 10 leading riders in this Category 1 race.
Yeah, brilliant to see such aggressive racing and such fun racing. So don't forget, please do come and join us. We'd love to be reading your name out on the from the screens, because you are up and mixing it up with the riders, and you can dive on the app available on Android, on iOS, and on Windows-based platforms. You can download it off app stores. You can get it from MyWhoosh.com. The links are in there as well. please do jump on board and make sure that you are on there. And it could be you who's going through our time checks, finishing our segments, and giving us the action to talk about our riders into segment number 4. This is a long segment, 3K segment. So this will be very telling in terms of that chasing time. And don't forget, of course, all of the riders here out and riding on MyWhoosh on the way through as well. So do jump on and join us. And if you are jumping on and you need any advice, don't forget, of course, that the team at MyWhoosh are always available and really have a looking to get as many people on the bikes as possible, and all part of that great push as part of the UAE push, of course, including all their fantastic facilities.
Yeah, so it's looking at the moment that Noren is the rider down the road. He's 7 seconds clear of this chasing group of what looks like 10 riders. Then we've got about a 25-second gap back to the next chasing group, which is being led by X100. As we, on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see Finati. So Finati is the leader on the road at the moment. He is the leader in the Category 4 race, who was the first group of riders away from the start pens today. They've been racing now for just over 40 minutes. Finati now with a lead of around 12 seconds on Maillard and Suarez. 16 seconds back then from Finati to Decker and Fabio and Elos and Cadabona. So this group of Category 4 riders now starting to look as though they are split into 3 different groups across the road.
So Johan Noren with this push, with this kick, currently just still ahead of Popovic for Jasin Knudsen. And Johan Noren, he's promised a lot, hasn't he, Emma? He's been right up in the mix. Could today be his day, do you think?
Well, it would be superb if it was, because you are right. Noren has been getting better and better, and he's really coming into form, and I think he's showing that to us today. So 5 seconds clear of Popovic, because it's Popovic and Cutler who are doing the chasing. So if we remember last week, Noren was outside of the top 5 on the final climb, but what a phenomenal final climb Noren had, because he brought back the riders in front of him to end up taking 4th place. So Johan Noren having a storming race last week, having another storming ride today. So Noren in 1 in Category 1. It's looking like Kranich has broken away in Category 2, but he's not broken away very far, because Spratt, Oviedo, Giuliano and Hoela are all together. So we've got a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders leading the Category 2 race, and around a 15-second gap back to the chasers, being led by Smythe. Actually, taking a look at that, Smythe is the only rider back at 15 seconds. You know, the rest of the field, they're over a minute back now. So 6 riders broken clear of the main pack in Category 2. 1 rider, Smythe, being dropped from the lead group. This is now the lead group of 5 riders in the Category 2 race. So 5 riders leading the Category 2 race. This is the Category 1 race. Johan Noren is still 7 seconds down the road. This is the chasing group. Popovic, Knudsen, Cutler, Vujasin, Bjorklund, Van Elst, Martins, Fawcett, Cutler. These riders in here, it's a class breakaway group. And then we've got the group of riders a little bit further back, as Phil Graves is the rider pushing on to make the juncture to Noren. So Graves has attacked the group and trying to cross the bridge to Noren. So we're going to see Noren and Graves, 2 riders taking the lead at the moment in this Category 1 race. Vujasin is the rider on the back, on the front of the chasing group. He is back in 3rd place at the moment as Graves joins Noren. He comes to his back wheel, and the 2 riders are now clear of that chasing group.
So Johan Noren with the red hair, the red beard and the blue socks on. Phil Graves with the yellow and white aero helmet, yellow socks on, diving away. They've got the gap on Popovic, and really interesting tactics as they come in and through, and you can see the timing there. Phil Graves trying to bridge across during the segment number 4. That has given him a 2.339 lead over Vujasin in the split, and that is due to his push across to get across that gap. But for me, big key things here: who is in, who is missing? Well, the UAE clan team have 2 riders in there. Belgian Waffles have 3.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting, isn't it? I'm just taking a little look back to try and work out the difference in times between this front group and the chasing group. And as I'm looking at it, it's looking like the chasing group is 3 seconds slower through that segment than this lead group. So segment number 4, which is 3 kilometers. So this leading group of riders in this category 1 race going through the 3K, 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, so that leading group going through faster by 3-4 seconds than our 2 leaders. They are all ahead of the group we're seeing on our screens at the moment. This is Mr. X100. He's in group number 3, effectively. So we have a pair at the front, so that's group 1. We have a chasing group, that's group 2. Then we have a chasing group, chasing the chasers. They are group number 3 on the road at the moment. And I tell you something, that gap has not come down. It's 25 seconds between group 2 and group 3. Group 3 containing Custom Mare, Mr. X100. Meanwhile, looks like Lucas Zanaska not content with sitting in group number 2. Wants to go clear. In fact, he's gone over the top of Phil Gray, so I suspect he's in the lead here. Yep, just seeing that they've pulled them back there. So the 2 leaders got pulled back, and now a counter-attack coming from Luca Zanaska. Zanaska running for the Italian Gelato squad, and currently pushing on. Zanaska, very experienced rider and a racer on esports.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what course these men are going to face in the finals next week, but I am looking forward to it already. And this race is not finished. So Zanaska pushing on, Popovic coming and closing the gap. Knudsen in 3, Cutler is there. So is Vujasin, Graves, Fawcett and Noren, who was our lone leader for some time, now back in this pack. Bjorklund is here, so is Van Elst. These riders all pushing strongly as the chase group now is looking as though it's 32 seconds back. So these breakaway riders in the category 1 race have got 32 seconds on the chase group. They are on the left-hand side of your screen now. So right-hand side of your screen, this is group number 1 on the road now. On the left-hand side of your screen, this is group number 2 on the road in this category 1 race. And you can see now it is 400 meters separating these 2 groups.
400 meters doesn't sound a lot, but it can take some time to get across. Really interesting push here. Hassan Sultan right in the mix here. Hassan moving his way up into category 1. He's in the mix here. Interesting to see Custom Mare also up in 1. Simon Walters, we would expect to be in here, and Bart van den Eekhout as well. Really interesting mix of riders in this chasing pack at the moment, but they are losing ground slowly but surely, I think, at the moment. And for me, this is now about what do you do? Do you get a qualifying ride in? Do you look to beat the rest of the group? I suppose it's down to the individual and what they want out of the race.
Well, absolutely, and what they're looking for, and also what's on their training plan at the moment. They might have a hard race scheduled, you know, they might have an easier day scheduled, who knows? But at the moment, I'm not really bothered because it is bringing fantastic racing today.
It is indeed. It is, and I think that's the thing. We don't know what the riders are doing, whether they're coming off a hard training block. We've seen one of our regular riders, Saeed Safrazad, who regularly rides at the race club. He's actually out racing in Sakarya, in the Tour of Sakarya, on the race out there. In fact, we're going to be on the microphone for the XCE, that's the eliminator for the UCI. That's both Emma and myself, and that is in a little while today. You can catch up with that as well. We'd love to see you there, and I'm sure we might have to mention the fact we've been busy all day long and bringing you the Sunday race club today. Don't forget, of course, you can get in touch with @BikingEmma or @MattFixThePain, and whilst you're on social media, make sure you send over, let's get some images in of where you are, what you're up to, what you do. We'd love to know what you are out and doing in between the racing as well as when you're racing. So do get in touch with us on social media. Make sure you tag in @MyWhoosh.
Yeah, so taking a quick look at where our races are at the moment. Category 1, 10 riders in the leading group. Category 2, 5 riders in the leading group there. Category 3, over 15 riders still in the leading group in Category 3. Category 4, we've got a lone leader in Finati, now at 27 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race.
We have the riders on the way and motoring through. Remember, 45 kilometres, the same distance on all of our Sunday race clubs for all of our categories. Category 4, getting the biggest start, 20 minutes over Category 1. Category 3 get a 15-minute head start. Category 2 get a 5-minute head start over Category 1, who have all of the chasing. They are the house to the Category 2, 3 and 4 hares. At the moment, you can see the distances are coming down, but we expect the catch to be made realistically on the final climb. But at the moment, Dario Finati, leading this race out solo in Category 4, still has some considerable distance at this stage. He is still 7 kilometers down the road. That is some distance, isn't it, Emma?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's a big chasing group behind now, because it's looking like the two groups that were behind Finati have now all come together. So Maillard, Pleasure, Suarez, Fabiano, Alvarez, Decker, all in that group. So Enrico Quadrelli in there as well. It just, more riders keep coming through. So that group are obviously rolling through, and you can see the size of that group on that top right-hand corner screen. These riders now coming into what I'm going to call the pre-climb, the final climb before the Category 3 climb of the day. So Finati is down the road, but this is a large chasing group of Category 4 riders. In fact, the rest of the field are in here. So 11 riders chasing Finati, who is the lone leader at the moment in the Category 4 race.
Our Category 2 riders equally as aggressive. You can just see Ryan Giuliano ahead of James Krasnich, and then Jose Ovido, and then it's going to be Sprat. And the way this terrain is made up, it really doesn't give these riders much of a break, because whilst none of the hills are massive, there's equally very little actual flat. It's basically down, up, down, up, down, up. It's almost flat, bumpy rolling.
It is indeed, and there's nothing wrong with a flat, bumpy rolling course, because look at the action it gives us, and this action is across every single category today. It is making fantastic viewing, and I hope you are enjoying it as much as I am.
Don't forget to make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the Twitch TV. If you are watching on YouTube and thinking, what's Twitch TV about? Well, if you're watching live, head over to Twitch TV. So it's twitch.tv/MyWhoosh Live, and you will find the uncompressed, super duper Technicolor version that will give you all of the details. It's really great to watch, particularly if you've got a big screen. There's no compression, even on live feed. It is absolutely amazing, and it really does showcase the terrain the riders are riding through and just how much work they are doing. You get to see all of the graphics in full detail, so please do make sure you jump on there if you are watching live. It runs at the same pace, just less compression. Brilliant to watch.
Take a look at this, Matt. I think this group are catching back, you know. I think this time is coming down. We're looking at about a 12-second gap now. And, you know, X100 has been spearheading this attack and this chase group, you know. He's been on the front here. He's currently on the front with Biarhead. And Walter is in here and Theme. But 12 seconds now to that leading group. Now, the leading group have done so much work in this Category 1 race today. Those 10 riders who are clear of this chase group of what looks like 3, 6, 9. I reckon that's nearly 10 riders as well. So I'm not sure they're going to want to be caught, but they are going to need to put their foot to the pedal if they want to stay away.
They are, and Johan Noren currently at 8 watts per kilo, being chased by Phil Graves at 10 watts per kilo. Graves knows that they are coming closer together. Behind her then is Tim Cutler, again very aware of what's going on. And this constant attacking, this yo-yoing really is fracturing the group. We're just in with Mr. X100 at the moment. They are approaching the 22.5k marker. This is the end of segment 5, and this means we're going to get a good indication of who is catching whom over the last segment. And that is, of course, a over 3k of a road. So the riders in and through the 22.5, that's segment number 5.
Well, and I can tell you that the chasers are chasing hard. They are, yeah, it's very, very little in it, but the chasers are chasing hard. So Simmons, Noren, Graves, 1, 2, 3 in terms, but look at it, it's changing continually as the back of the chase group starts to come through. So Simmons coming through in 4:44. Use Waters, X100, Sultan. These are all riders in the chase group coming through in those fastest times. In fact, you're scrolling down to about 12th. Johan Noren van den Eckhout is in the in the chasing group, so those 11 riders in that chasing group, chasing the 10 riders in the lead group, and they are chasing really fast. And take a look at that. That's 13 seconds they've made on that group in that 3.5 kilometer segment.
That is some going, and it does show that it reflects the fact the time gap was coming down between the Mr. X100 group and what was group number 3. Closing on group number 2, still got Johan Noren just off the front, I think, just riding in with Ross Fawcett, left-hand side. Ross Fawcett really targeting the sprints on the MyWhoosh Championship and riding steady in between, but now without that sprint price to go for, he's back in the main mix and showing why he can never be discounted. He's a really good ruler. I think he punches really well through the sprints. He can climb. He's got plenty of power. Whilst he might not be a pure climber or a pure sprinter, he can do everything really well.
I think his sprinting prowess in that MyWhoosh Championships showed us where his real strength lies, and it's paying off for him today with this attack on the course. But, you know, if these riders want this attack to pay off, they're going to have to get a move on, and they're going to have to start really laying it down and putting the power down on those pedals to stay clear of that group behind.
Well, time to see who has got the pace today. We're approaching 25 kilometres of this 45-kilometre circuit and route today. So let's give you a quick reminder of exactly whereabouts we are as the teams come in and through, because remember, the course today not having as much elevation as we've seen previously. And Emma, we are at 25k effectively. We're pretty much half race distance for the riders in the chasing group in category 1. From here on in, we've got that third climb, but beyond it, it's nowhere near flat, is it?
It isn't. So realistically, they are coming into a very much a rolling segment. They have that third climb coming at 27 kilometres. They will drop down off the top, and then there are a number of kickers. Before at 38.8, they come into the main climb. But again, there are kickers on that climb. So it's not a steady state climb. It has got continual kickers on, and we'll see a very punchy type of rider progress, I think, to the top in the lead. Now, that checkered flag, it's a 6.2 kilometre climb, an average gradient of 5.2%. But it is really steep in sections, and I think with the gap now to the second group on the road, I think it's all going to come back together again, and we're going to see 21 riders in that lead group in category 1 all come together for that final climb.
Oh, bold prediction. Emma's decided to put a prediction down. I think this climb is going to be instrumental. The steep sections are steep, and the rests in between are not long enough to have a serious rest, so they just break your rhythm up. Really interesting to see all 4 of our categories heading towards climb. This climb will test all of our riders, and as Emma said earlier, it's what happens is as you go up through your ability level, you basically doesn't get any easier, you just go quicker, to quote the great, I think that is Bernardino, if I remember correctly. It might be Lamont. No, it's Merckx. There you go. Take your pick. It's
Take your pick. Which would you like?
I think it's Eddie Merckx, yes. He's also great for saying you don't have to go out, if you can't go out and train in the rain, that's when the champions are made, but not anymore, because, of course, he was pre-MyWhoosh.
Absolutely. Now take a look at this pack. We've got a mix here now as this leading group in the category 1 race comes across the back of some of our category 2 riders, and Fawcett is the rider making the most of this. I saw 11 watts per kilo come out of Fawcett. He's showing us that sprinting ability to sprint away from this group and ensure a good strong transition, because there are more riders up the road to catch. Is he utilizing this bit of confusion with catching these riders to try and go clear, or at least maintain this pace and ensure they go right through these 2 groups of riders which they've come up onto the back of?
Yeah, just you can see this is really smart running. It's using that pace, using that power. We're just in with Hassan Sultan, and you can see that they have got the target in front. Hassan Sultan, Mr. X100, Henry Joyce. You can see Julien Quintero in there, Walter Mayer, Bjarhead, Van den Eyck. This group is closing, and they can see their target in front. The riders that we just saw the lead group go through, they are now the riders that are being passed by this chasing group. The gap is coming down. It is down now to about 7 seconds, I think, from the front of this group to the back of the group in front. This could be very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is indeed, isn't it? Because now that gap is starting to come down again. There's just a group of back markers in between. In fact, I think both groups now past those back markers. So it is indeed the leading group of Category 1 riders. This is the chase group. The leading group are just going round the bend up ahead. And I think there's an attack coming on the front of that group because they really did not want to be caught and they really want to stay away. They do not want this group to come back together again. They've got a good group of 10 riders. This is a chase group of 11 coming back as a group of 21. Well, that's just too many riders to risk it.
It is. It's too many riders to take in, and if you've done that work, you want to stay clear. You'll put and invest a little bit more in, and just looking to see if they're carrying any particular passengers. But I think the problem for the front group is that they're not. What they're not doing is they're not working together. They're attacking each other, and that actually just brings the pace down, and they are giving away the gap, and that is absolutely crazy because you've put all this effort in, and just because you want to attack, you're actually losing it. If they get it together and work together, then they would have a better chance of staying away. But that takes cohesion and cooperation, and that's sadly lacking at the moment.
Well, they're going to have to get it sorted very, very quickly, or they're going to find themselves as a group of 21 as they move now into the start of segment number 6. So this is at 27.5 kilometers into the race, and it's a 5-kilometer segment now. Now, the question is, will the catch be made in these 5 kilometers, or will this lead group now sit up and move on? Well, I talk about sit up. I think they've sat up already because I think they've accepted the inevitable because the group are coming and the group are going to come together and they're mixed, you know, Matt, with a number of Category 2 riders, which tells you the pace these group is riding at.
Yeah, there's a lot of draft to be had from that big pack of 11 riders coming through. There's a lot of assistance to be taken and they are making the most. Here we go. The catch is made. Next one group. If you were in the studio with me now, you would see Emma shaking her head in disgust. Now, for those of you who don't know Emma's background, Emma is an experienced esports racer as well as a racer in the world of mountain biking, as well as on riding on the road and actually on the track. But Emma is also a DS, Director Sportif, and those are the team managers who direct the action for the riders on esports. Now, Emma, if your riders were up there, you would not be a happy bunny, would you?
Well, no, not with the catch being made, but, you know, as I said, 10 riders taking into the bottom of the climb versus 21 is very, very different. But we're seeing an attack go on the front now as the pace, you know, what could happen now is that they just sit up. The catch has been made to sit up, but Martins is absolutely adamant. He really does not want the pace to drop off, because if the pace drops off, there's 21 riders taking a rest on the run into that final climb, and there's still 8K to go. What you really don't want now is an 8-kilometer rest for 21 world-class esports riders to go into a 6-kilometer climb.
Because it'd be great for us because basically it just explode on the climb, but the problem is it's an absolute lottery, and you've probably just given an easy ride to a whole load of climbers.
Yeah, and you know, it took that group a long time to make the catch, so they didn't do it at a high pace. They did it at a steady pace. And in fact, those riders who didn't poke their nose out onto the front of that pack and sat in the draft all the way that X100 and other riders were on the front have had an easy tow over, or should I say an easier tow over. So some of these riders are going to have much fresher legs in this group than others, and I think that may well be evident on the climb.
Well, let's see if that is the case. I'm sure that there is a plan somewhere for people. And what we've got to remember, of course, is we aren't privy to who's feeling good. Some of these riders will be going really aggressively in the first hour because they want an hour's hard workout. As they run in, they know they're not going to figure on the climb. It's just too long, too steep. It's just too far race distance. They know that they want to improve, so they're trying to improve their power, their training. And that is why you see these differences in there as well that we're not privy to, and of course none of the rest of the riders are. It's just those individuals. So really interesting watching this unfolding Category 1. Meanwhile, you can see right hand side of your screen we've got a Category 2 and Nicholas Spratt. Looks like Spratt just chasing down the race lead here. They are continuing to push, but you can see riders rejoining. Meanwhile, you can see Wayne Smith, Tim Cutler now on the front of the Category 1 race, now starting to wind it up and try and go clear. So there is no rest for these riders at all. Graves and Cutler attacking. Pablo Popovich is in that mix. Category 2 is aggressive as well. 3 and 4 are slightly more together at this stage, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Category 4 at 35.5k. Now about 3k off the base of the climb proper, but it's very tough stuff on the way in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's looking like Finati in that Category 4 race has been caught. Now, that would put all of the riders back together again in there. And, well, all of the riders. It would give a large group of 12 riders in the front of that Category 4 race. And, yep, indeed, I think that is true. And take a look at that. That's Filippo Quadrelli, the rider in the blue jersey. That is the leader of the Category 3 race. He has caught the front of the Category 4 race and has his brother Enrico Quadrelli on his wheel.
I'll tell you something, those two are going to be working together surely on the way through, because they've got what should be a nailed-on win in theory for Category 3 in terms of Quadrelli at the front with that gap, particularly as he can make the most of the race. But the rest of the riders will know that will be working to close that down. Meanwhile, now we see Martin Martin's caught back. Michael Knudsen went over the top, but I don't think Knudsen is pressing this home at the moment. There's going to be a lot of tired legs in there. This, I think, at the moment is a bit of a false pause as we wait for somebody to put a decisive attack in. It's not really a very, very hard move going as one rider starts to go clear off the front. And that looks to me like it's Christoph Thiem this time who's gone clear. And it's going to do a double check down the road. It's pretty sure that's who it is. It's Phil Graves. Should have known it. There you go. Phil Graves on the attack once again. If in doubt, say Phil Graves when there's an attacker. You've got probably a 70% chance it's going to be right.
Well, absolutely, but Graves now, the next rider in front, is the back of the not the back of the Category 2 race, but part and parcel of that Category 2 race, because those are the next riders they are going to see. So Graves now pushing on the front of this Category 1 pack. 21 riders in this leading group in Category 1 today. They've all come back together again after an early split into 2 groups. We had a leading group of 10 riders with constant attacks going off the front, a chase group of 11 riders, and they have now all come back together at just over the halfway point to form a group of 21 riders on the road in the lead in this Category 1 race.
It's just so intriguing what's going to happen. And what I'm loving is the fact that the Category 2 riders, they're hitching a lift in here. They're sitting in the draft. Don't go on the front, guys. And make the most of this.
The next group they're going to catch up the road, Matt, is the leading group in that Category 2 race. So Ospina and Castro at the moment, the Category 2 riders who are sat in this group, are pretty much being towed up to the front of their own race.
Yeah, really interesting to see. It's one of the tactics. It frustrates some riders, we know that, but it also makes for great tactics, and it's worth thinking about what happens. It also means there's more people in contention later in those categories, but they've still got to do the work. You've still got to be able to ride with the Category 1 riders as you get caught, and that is no mean feat. Great riding. We're just in with Castro at the moment. You see how high his heart rate is. 170 beats per minute. He's revving out, and 90 revs per minute. He's really pushing on here and doing a great job of just trying to stay in with the leaders.
Absolutely, and worth that effort as well for him. So this group now all moving on. Graves going round the corner, in fact just out of sight of this group at the moment on your screens. He's just heading underneath that blue banner that you can see, signifying the end of this segment, and this is segment number 6. So the first of our 2 5-kilometer segments.
So segments, of course, timed individually. They are a discrete segment. They are not a segment where it is first over the line. It's not cumulative time coming through. It is just for that segment. So they offer us that snapshot on the way in to the finish. At the moment, our leading group of Category 1 at 32.8k.
Yeah, they are indeed, and take a look at that. It's Phil Graves attacking off the front of that Category 1 pack, setting the fastest time through that 5-kilometer segment number 6, 7 minutes 18 seconds. Now Simeon's in 2 in the chase group. They are 1.1 second back. Van den Eckhout, Oijert, Thiem, Mayer, East, Biarhead, Sultan, Walter, Quintero and X100 rounding out the top 12. X100 2.6, just, well, 2.7 really seconds back.
So not a lot separating the riders at the front of the group. Phil Graves on the attack, solo at the moment. He's clear of Michael Nussey. You know, one of these days, Phil Graves is going to go on the attack, and they won't get him back. They will let him go, and they won't pull him back fast enough, and he will solo to victory. And really looking forward to that. Might have to be the day I actually buy him an ice cream.
Well, I think Grace would probably like that.
I think he would. I've seen pictures of him at the beach at the seaside with an ice cream. So, you know, it is also the currency of commentary. It's ice creams on the way through, and we've made it to halfway through the show before I've actually mentioned it.
You can see halfway through. We're well over halfway through this race at the moment, coming up for 50 minutes now in this men's Category 1 race. There's a mix in here because we've got some green jerseys from the Category 2 race field, but Sultan is on the front here with Knudsen and Quintero. Popovic, Vujasin, Venden Eckhart is here too. These riders pushing on now. Graves is down the road. He's 10 seconds down the road. They don't seem to be that bothered at the moment by the fact that Graves has gone down the road, but they are on the run in now to the final climb. It's a Category 3 climb today, and it's a gradually, I don't even know, it's a rolling run-in, I think is probably the best way to say it.
A rolling run-in. It is indeed it's a rolling run-in that is going to test the riders' legs. And it isn't easy. There's nowhere to rest. It's constantly changing. You've got to be fluctuating your power. So for those riders that like a constant power, the turbo trainer will be braking, it will be easing off, and that is going to be varying on the run in. That is going to take its toll on the riders who like a constant pedal res and a constant power. It is a very tough course, even though it's not the biggest climb, it's not the most mountainous terrain. It is definitely tough stuff and great to ride around here. Really hard to race around here, and that's being shown by the riders. Now, Category 1, left-hand side of the screen. Right-hand side of your screen, you can see at the moment that we have got Quadrelli. He is the rider who has caught the leaders in the Category 4 race, but at the moment he's caught the group. He's still in with them. They are at 39.6k, and that means that they are on to the climb. Remember, though, that there is a long way to go, but this is a very stepped climb, and there are steeper sections as well as levels on the way through.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what Quadrelli, the leader in that Category 3 race, does. He's with the large group of leaders in the Category 4 race. Now, with the gap he's got in Category 3, he could just use the group as motivation to climb. He doesn't need to beat them, or he could set his own pace and time trial his own way, ignorant of that group, to the finish. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. I mean, I'd probably hang on to some wheels as motivation just to take a steadier ride up there and just keep an eye on the time gap behind. I think that's what Quadrelli is doing at the moment, but this is the chase group behind, and you can see Quadrelli has got about 400 meters on the chase group, and it's a big chase group. You know, it's looking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 9 riders in that chasing group coming into that final Category 3 mountain. So it's Quadrelli's time split at the moment, 49 seconds clear of this group.
49 seconds. We're coming into the climb. We have got just over 5 kilometers to go, 5.5k to go for this chasing group, and now is the time. They can't sit and surf the wheels anymore. They need to show us what their legs can do on the climb, or whether their lungs have the capacity to take in enough oxygen, because this is key. Meanwhile, in Category 1, it's spread out once again, but it is not a decisive move as these riders come around this right-hand turn. So Category 1 on the run in, they are at 35.8k, but we are seeing the action unfolding on the mountain. The riders chasing Phil Graves now. Graves is currently at 36.12, so he has currently got about 200 meters or so from the riders. You can see he's on this bridge going round over the wooden boardwalk. The rest of the riders just go onto it now, so that gap is there, but he's clearly working hard. He has got some company to help him in the shape of some Category 2 riders as he goes down and through. Every little bit of draft will help.
Well, the question is he going to make this stick, and is he going to continue this effort to the top of the climb, or is he just trying to stretch the legs of the group behind and have the group behind made the right decision in their heads as to what Graves's tactic is? Do they just see him as the man who goes bang, bang, bang down the front and continues to push the pace on early in the race? And have they, misconstrued this effort? Can he ride away from them and take the win, or are they just comfortable in the knowledge that they know at some point on this climb they'll bring him back?
Well, I think anybody who's watched any of the commentary will know that I absolutely love a brave move and a solo attack, and riders who are prepared to animate the action, and that's what we've seen. We've seen Phil Graves go up there. Now, what he wants to do is he wants to get up the road as far as he can coming onto this hill and then hold on. So, will today be the day that Phil Graves does it? Well, we'll be willing him onwards. And it's not that we have favourites, we just love aggressive, attacking, entertaining, racing behind. Bart van den Eyck currently on the front of this group. It's just starting to stretch. They are at 37k. The climb proper starts at 38.8k. However, it's not an easy run in, and we've said that a number of times. It is going to rise and fall, and it's going to break up the rhythm of this group. At the moment, it's Graves with the gap, though. That gap currently hovering around about the 13-second marker.
It is indeed. Van den Eyck, Popovic, Vujasin, Quintero. These are the riders towards the front of this group, but no real big push. A steady pace at the moment here in this group, and it's still a very large group of riders. So I'm reckoning around 20 riders in this group at the moment. This is the chasing group. Phil Graves is around 15 seconds down the road, but Van den Eyck and Cutler are the riders towards the front here, and starting to wind the pace up, but not too much at the moment, but just enough to keep the pace high on the road. Now, currently this gradient at 1.5%. This group still doing over 30 kph, so the pace still maintaining strong effort at the moment.
So let's watch this unfold. We are heading into our last 7k to come. This on the 45k distance in total. Don't forget, of course, all of the results will be up on the MyWhoosh.com website. They are live results at the moment. So that means that the race is in progress. When the race finishes and all our riders are in and through, they will become unofficial results, and those unofficial results are prior to verification. Verification then is a process where we check the results. The computers, the AI, as well as the real human beings will be there checking the data, checking the results, looking at what's come in, where the power sources show the increases, the rise and falls, lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. When that verification process is complete across our riders, then that will be a verified result. You will see that it will change and it will get that blue stamp of approval. That means it is a verified result, and the results are then correct. That is a process that ensures that all of our riders comply with everything from weigh-in videos right the way through to the double data input, and that matches on the way through. So great to see our riders racing. It's great to see those results afterwards, and we know that they have been verified and checked. And don't forget, it's mywhoosh.com/results, and you can click to the results on the menu across the top of the screen. Don't forget, of course, whilst you're on there, make sure you download the app as well. That is on iOS, it is on Windows, and on Android as well. You can go take it with you anywhere you want. Now, anyway you want, it would include being on the climb. We're in with Andrea Monello at the moment, and Monello just on this climb. You can see the city in the background across the water. 11.5% slope at peak as they come around this right hand turn, and this is the race that he's on. Interesting that we've got Daniel Gomez up at the front of this group. He is the leading rider in category 3 at the moment, with the exception of Filippo Quadrelli, but they are battling it out. Quadrelli currently 17 seconds. It's a tenuous lead, Emma, but he's only got what is about 3k to go.
Well, yeah, and the 4 riders here chasing in this category 3 race. Actually, it's 5 riders chasing in that category 3 race, pushing on into the back of what was the group of 10 riders that Quadrelli caught up the road. So Quadrelli still in that group further up the road, 17 seconds. The chase group now working their way through the back of that field. everybody on the mountain.
Indeed, so you can see now this pack going on to the slopes of the final climb here in Alula in MyWhoosh on the Sunday Race Club, and you can see this pack just starting to sort itself out. You can almost see the speed picking up and the effort going. Really good to see that Lionel Vujassin very strong today on the front, just opening up a little bit of a gap on Zanaska Van Elst. You can see those numbers going into the red and into the yellow zones as they chase down. And Noren still with plenty of strength left despite that attack. But at the moment, it is Vujassin who is looking like he has decided now is the time to go. Now is the time to move, and now is the time to take it down the rest of the riders. Phil Graves, well, no longer at the front. Now off the back.
Yeah, I think now is the time to recover up the climb for Phil Graves by the look of that. That looks to me like it was a hard hour, and now it's a gentle climb as the pack have gone straight past him and through and over the top. So the group now getting smaller. We had 21 riders in this lead group. 2 groups had come together. We've now got Vujassin leading out a group here with Zanaska, Van Elst, Cutler, Nora, Knudsen and Popovic. Fawcett, I think, is still there as well. So this group, a much, much smaller group than we saw go into the base of the climb. 2 riders now working their way clear, and that is Lionel Vujassin and Luka Zanaska.
Well, really good to see these 2 riders coming up to the fore. They're ahead of Cutler, Popovic, Nora, Knudsen, Van Elst and co. It's not a huge gap, but it is there at the moment. Lucas Zanaska and Lionel Vujassin, the 2 riders together, and now they need to push. They have got 4.7k to the finish. They're inside that 5k marker, but they're not the leaders on the road. That is currently with Acevedo. So Acevedo of Category 4 currently leading the riders up the climb in terms of being on the road overall, but of course having a much bigger head start, 20 minutes head start on our Category 1 riders. So the leader on the road at 42.7k, the leaders of the last group, that is at 40.48, so just over 2.25 kilometers separating the 2 leading groups.
Yeah, so Zanaska, Vujassin now joined by Knudsen. So 3 riders now in the group, and we've got 2 more riders trying to come across there. In fact, the whole pack is desperately trying to work themselves back together again. So 4, 5, 6. It's looking like, I think we are going to see a group of 6 riders here. So it's looking like we've got Vujassin, Zanaska, Popovic. I was getting confused there. Spratt just popped in there, but that's the Category 2 rider. So Zanaska, Knudsen, Vujassin, Popovic, Noren and Cutler, I think.
Yep, I think that's the that is the mix that I picked that as they came in and through. Yeah, Spratt in Category 2. Just being passed on the way through. So now just watching Vujassin. This bridge is one of the tough sections of the course. It levels slightly coming on it, but then you can just see that gradient increasing as they come up here, but then it will kick again. So this one of the slightly easier in terms of gradient sections of course, but that just means the speed goes up.
Yeah, it does indeed. And as the speed's going up, we've got a group of 6 riders now. This is all change in the early part of this climb. You know, 21 riders came in. We've now got 6 riders in a group away clear in this Category 1 race. They are working their way through the Category 2 field on the climb. They are working their way through the back of the Category 3 climb as well. They are continuing to move, and take a look on the right hand side of your screen. This is also part and parcel of what was the pack of 21 who came in. X100, Bjorklund, Thiem, Fawcett, Van Elst. You know, they are 200 meters down.
Indeed they are, and this is where that effort that they put in to close the gap is now going to take its toll, because they put in so much effort early on. They're now starting to lose ground with increasing magnitude here, and this is surely only going to extend as we go up. We've seen Mistakes 100 time trial his way up plenty of times before and make contact with the group, and I think that's been his tactic. He knew he wasn't going to stay with the group with the sharp accelerations, but he's going to try and time trial his way in through the group right the way up to the summit. Meanwhile, left hand side of your screen, you can see the distance being absolutely eaten up here by the riders in front. They are just at 300 meters in front of Mr. X100, who's on the right of your screen. But this group, I think, we've not got a decision made yet. We've not got a selection made yet, and time is starting to run out for these riders.
Well, it is, isn't it? And Bjorklund is desperately trying to hold on to X100's wheel because he knows of his time trialing ability and his ability to bring the group back by that constant pace. So Jakob Bjorklund trying to hang on to the wheel of X100 and get a tow back up to the group. But the group further up the road, Fawcett and Van Elst, are the two riders, I think, who were distanced from this group. So when this group went from 8 to 6, those are the two riders, I think, that came back off the group. So Fawcett and Van Elst, the two riders they will see in their category next on the road. Vujasin, Knudsen, Zanaska and Cutler are the riders further up the road. Now, right at the front of the road today, coming up for 44 kilometres of this race today, is indeed Acevedo, the leader in Category 4. Filippo Quadrelli, the leader in Category 3, is 10 seconds down the road. But you know what? Quadrelli has company. So it looks as though Quadrelli now being caught by second and third place in that Category 3 race as Acevedo stays clear in Category 4.
Well, the Valencia Quadrelli battle we saw play out in the racing in the championship. Let's see who's going to take this out. You can see the riders into the tunnels on the climb. At the moment, the number Category 1 chasers there on the left of your screen. You can see right hand side of your screen your leader on the road. He's into his final 800 meters here, and this is going to be Andres Castel Acevedo. It's Acevedo who's on that tight right hand turn at 9%. The leaders of Category 1, they're on 13%. Underground covering 13%, so you can see the numbers flicking into the red. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. The numbers are flicking into the red because all of these riders want the win. They don't want to be the one who doesn't make it to the top. They want to be first. They don't want to be last because there are 6 riders in this group and 5 prizes today. Popovic, I think, is going to be a very strong contender today. So is Knudsen, but Vujasin and Noren, you know, they are going to have something to say about this.
And look at the battle behind them, as in front of them, but behind the race leader, because we saw Acevedo in the front, but now look at Valencia, Daniel Gomez Valencia. He is also into his last 600 meters. He's gone in front of Quadrelli. Quadrelli is about 3 seconds back. Has anybody got an answer to Valencia? This is going to be tight. It's tight at the top. We are now at 500 meters to go. And at the moment, Quadrelli has got to pull something special out here to close down on Valencia. They are the 1-2 in Category 3. It looks to me like this is going to come down to who's got anything left in the legs. Here we go. This is that a little bit of a dip and a kicker here. Valencia has the lead. He's pushing at 7 watts per kilo over the top. He's going to hit the dip. He's going to hit the riser. He's got the pace. He's got the speed. It's going to be Daniel Gomez who's going to come and take victory. Category 3 winner in over the line. He comes through ahead of Filippo Quadrelli. He comes through in second place, and it looks to me like that was Acevedo who came through taking top spot in Category 4. What a finish. Absolutely flat out for these riders behind them. We're at 43.6k in our race in Category 1, and we still got our Category 2 riders scattered all over the road.
Well, we do indeed, and I'm looking at this at the moment, and I'm wondering whether that's Cutler that has been dropped from the group of 6, because Knudsen is pushing on with Popovic and Noren. So these 3 riders at the moment at the front of this group. We've got a rider who's slowly getting dropped off the back there of the group. It was indeed 6 riders. Is it now 5? We can take a look. X100 is doing the chasing. He's still chasing, but Knudsen and Popovic now look to be clear of Noren, Zanaska and Vujasin, than Van Elst and Cutler. This is absolutely a world-class field of Category 1 men you are seeing on this mountain climb at the moment as Noren digs deep, and he's digging so deep at the moment because that is Knudsen and Popovic going round the corner up ahead of him.
And he can see them in front. He knows how far they are. He knows just how hard this is going to be. Popovic, the call coming from Emma Knudsen in this mix with Popovic. Popovic is absolutely a dab hand at the finish. You saw that dip. You saw that rise. It's critical, and Popovic knows the way that this rides inside out. But do not discount Michael Knudsen, a rider who came stronger and stronger as the MyWhoosh Championship progresses. Even had the time to send us messages telling us just how well or otherwise he was feeling and how strong he was. Well, do you know what? He's got it to do now. He's got Popovic on his wheel. They are at 44.3k behind them. Vujasin, Van Elst and Cutler are all battling it out behind Zanaska and Noren. But the race lead at the moment it is with these two riders. They have 9 seconds on Noren. It's fluctuating slightly, but they're on to this next steep kicker. This is going to be tough stuff. We have 1.5 kilometers to go.
No, we don't.
Oh, no, we don't? Oh, my goodness.
550 meters to go as the gradients kick to 14%. I think the altitude has got to Matt's head.
It's the excitement.
We continue to push, but Popovic and Knudsen 1 and 2 at the moment. 9 seconds back to Noren. Zanaska 2 seconds back. Vujasin is on Zanaska's wheel. This is so close in the top 5 here in this men's race today. This is your category 1 race, and this is absolutely nail-biting stuff.
And Pablo Popovic kicks over the top. He's gone straight into this descent. We said he was the man to watch for with knowing this ride. He knows the momentum. He kicks over the top. And Pablo Popovic has got his foot on the throttle. He's at 8 watts per kilo. He's got a huge gear going as he goes into the finish. It's Pablo Popovic. He takes the win. The momentum master in 1. It's Michael Knudsen in 2, unable to answer his teammate Johan Noren after being aggressive all race. He is accelerating up into the finish. He's going to come through in 3. Great ride by Noren.
Yeah, so Vujasin and Zanaska are the 2 riders next in, and it's Vujasin who's kicked. Vujasin, I think, is going to take this from Zanaska. So Vujasin in 4, Zanaska in 5. Van Elst is the next rider back on the road. He's still got 400 meters until he sees the finish line.
What a race finish. Always a thrilling finish as they go up over the top. And I'll tell you something, Pablo Popovic has that nailed. He knows just when to kick, when to accelerate, and when to push. Now, Stefan Van Elst on the left-hand side of your screen. He is the rider in 6th place. 7th place is Mr. X100 on the right-hand side. He's now going over the top and into that descent. And he is chasing Van Elst. Van Elst is just up the road here, but Van Elst will hold on. It's going to be Stefan Van Elst who comes in and through the line. Then it's going to be Mr. X100 who is on his way down and in. Another top 10 for the road captain of the UAE clan team. Will he have done enough? I think he will to have held the Belgian Waffle squad off the top spot. Let's take a look at the results. So, with our riders in and through. Here we go. I was hoping he was going to update. We have 3 riders from the UAE clan team in and through the line. Popovic, Knudsen and Mr. X100. But your top 3 today, Pablo Popovic, Michael Knudsen, followed by Johan Noren. Vujasin in 4, Zanaska in 5, Van Elst in 6, Mr. X100 in 7. Tim Cutler coming through in 8th position. What a race finish today. Absolutely brilliant to see. And great riding by our riders. And well done to Daniel Valencia for coming in and through, taking away the top spot over the line first as they came through. So brilliant racing. Don't forget, catch up with all of these results at mywhoosh.com/results. We will be back again next week. It's not a qualifier. It's going to be for our finals with the team prizes up for grabs as well. Don't forget, make sure you give MyWhoosh a follow. Follow me. It's at Matt Fixer Pain. And you can follow Emma at Biking Emma. Emma, great racing today. I'm really looking forward to next week.
I'm exhausted and I've not even raced. That was absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait for the May final next Sunday.
So don't forget, tune in, subscribe. We will see you next week from all of the amazing team behind the scenes. So from Emma and myself, stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.